What is going on, guys? This is Jay Kraft with the Facebook group Bolorama Pickers Lounge, coming at you live again from beautiful Bakersfield, California. Today is March 3rd, 2019, and boy oh boy do we have a big show in store for you this evening. We are going to be covering the 2019 early spring seller update for eBay, and it is one of the most complex seller updates that I have seen in a long time. Now, I've seen a lot of other content creators covering the subject, but I have to tell you right now, the layers of depth that I found within this update are insane. We're going to be doing more than just taking a look at the surface cliff notes that eBay provided, but we're going to be going deep in and taking a look at the terms of service changes as well as policy changes that eBay didn't really put to the forefront. On top of that, if we have some time, we're going to be taking a look at some pickups that I got during the week. And like I said before, we've been having some issues with the weather, but I managed to get out of town and sneak in a single off day at the flea market and pick up a bundle full of goodies. So if you're interested in what this guy buys and sells every single week, you're definitely going to want to stick around towards the end of the show. I do want to let you know too, for those of you who are here for the very first time, this is a live Q&A. If you have any questions regarding the seller update, feel free to ask them in the comments. They will show up right here on the side, and I will be happy to answer those for you as well. So, thank you all for taking the time to be here. Again, I understand how busy it is to take a time out of your Sunday, of all days, to learn about reselling and become a sharper seller, but I can guarantee you the time you spend here will pay dividends for your business in the time to come in the future. Thank you again to everyone in the audience. I can see we have Donna, Tim, Stone's Throw, Pam, Keyweb Co., which is Roger, the one and only. We also have Prairie Grit, Sean Herrick, the owner of that brand, in as well. Those of you who don't know, this episode is being sponsored by the one and only Prairie Grit. We'll have a word from them later in this episode. So, yeah, like I said, we have a big show in store for you today. I'm kind of dragging things out just a hair because there's a lot of people who need to hear this information, and I'm watching the numbers go up right now. I know some of you guys are running late. So, like I said, I went out of town this week and I managed to get down to Fresno, and I hit the Sunnyside swap meet on Friday. I did shoot some footage for you guys. I'm putting together a little bit of a special bit that I'm trying to get cranked out, but we'll kind of see what happens. Hello to you, Matthew. Hello to you. Who is Trash Girl? We got to figure out who this is. I'm trying to sort all this out. The names don't match up with the names I know on the back end. But yeah, while I'm waiting for everyone to jump on, and we're going to go and switch over the screens a little bit, and we're going to be bouncing back and forth throughout the show. Those of you who don't know, this show is sponsored by Patreon. If it wasn't for these lovely people that you're seeing on here, this show would not exist. So a special thank you to our top patrons, Pam, Callie, Matthew, Pamela, Ashley, and Anna and Joe. And then also a warm welcome to our two newest people. We have Joel, who came on board, and Jason, who is a guest of the Patreon Bolorama family. So thank you to all those people for coming on board. It looks like we got about 30 people in the audience right now, which I think is more than enough to go ahead and get this party started. I'm going to get some of my notes switched over. So if you have a chance to grab a pen and paper, I would strongly recommend you do so. There's going to be a lot of things that you're going to be hearing today that you're going to be hearing for the very first time. There's a lot of new services, functionalities, features, and changes that no one else has talked about, but it's going to be important that you know them. This entire show will be available for replay. If you miss some bit, you got to walk away. Also, we're running on ultra low latency, so if you have to pause it and come back, you can do that, okay? But you won't be at the same pace where everyone else is when we're live. You can click that live tab to see that as well. If you aren't watching this in 720p resolution, we recommend you do that as well. You can hit the gear icon on a PC or touch your screen and the three dots on a mobile device. So without further ado, again, hello to everyone. Let's go ahead and take a look at our very first slide. Now, it's very important while we are on the topic of taxes that you understand that this video is meant to be used for reference and entertainment purposes. Today, we'll be sharing a mix of facts regarding taxes and policy changes, as well as conjecture regarding the reasoning behind some of these changes. Jay Kraft and the brand Bolorama cannot legally provide tax advice. Please consult a tax professional before making making changes to your business. Now, normally we don't have any types of disclaimers like this, but I want to let you guys know that we are taking the same official stance that eBay is taking, basically trying to cover our own butts. If any brand out there or any content creator out there is giving you tax advice, obviously, as I said, I don't want to disparage anyone else, but the reason we can't do that is because if you take our tax advice and you go apply it to your business and then something happens where you're negatively impacted or you lose money, we can actually be held liable for that. So today we're going to be talking about the tax laws and changes a little bit later in the discussion, but we can't give you advice. Now here's the thing though, I do have a nice little bit to throw out there. We will be having a specialist from the company TaxJar, which is a recommended by eBay brand as well, coming on, and they will be able to answer your questions. Now, you can expect that within the next 30 days, and I'll have updates on our Facebook group. If you're not familiar with the group, it's facebook.com/groups/Bolorama. Pam will throw a link there in the description. Also, a big thank you to our moderators tonight, Pam and Mindy, for helping out with the show this evening. So, as I said before, just bear in mind, we can't give tax advice, but we will be answering your questions to the best of our abilities. So, the seller update can very easily be broken down into 5 main categories. The first one being direct offers to buyers, followed up by seller hub updates, fixed price listing durations, inventory optimization, and state sales tax. We will be talking a fair amount about taxes. So if you're somebody who's had like that question on the top of your head, like Jay, like what the heck am I supposed to do when it comes to taxes as an eBay seller? Nobody's telling me what to do. You're going to have clear and concise answers by the end of this, but just not advice. And it also as well, if you have a question, if something is conjecture or fact, I'm going to do my best to make that as clear as possible for you as well. So now when we go a little bit further in, there's a few other things to understand that we're going to be talking about throughout the duration of this. And I felt that it was going to be important to get it out first and foremost before going into some of the specifics of this, because I can tell you, eBay is working to improve SEO, but if you don't know what SEO is, you're going to be a little bit lost a little bit later. So the first thing I wanted to touch base on is this is actually the first of either 3 or 4 updates that are going to be happening this year. Now, if we look back 2 years ago, eBay did 2 updates, and that was fine. It was a spring update and a fall update, in that order, obviously. And the spring update was generally the softer of the two, and then the fall update usually played a job of cleanup on the back end. Now, last year, I believe they kind of did this same gimmick before, where they released things a little bit early, and then they followed up with a compendium one later. But this time, we actually have an official statement from them that this is going to be the first of 2 spring updates, and we will be having a follow-up one happening in April. Okay, and now as far as the back end, it doesn't go without saying that there's a strong possibility that we could be seeing 2 more updates later in the year as well. And why is this important to you? It means that the platform is evolving very, very quickly, and you have to stay on top of the changes that are happening right now. The next thing that I wanted to touch base on too was understanding SEO. Those who don't know what that means, it stands for search engine optimization. And it basically means not only eBay's internal search engine, but the Google search engine as well. It's about making changes so that your items, or just relevant items in general, are more easily accessible to consumers, so they're able to find your items or find the items they're specifically looking for and be able to convert through and buy the item. So when we talk about improving SEO, we're talking about improving a consumer's ability to find your items. Now, the next one up is hidden changes. As I said just a moment ago, there was a lot of changes that got buried inside the terms of services, or if you went to the seller update, it was, I don't want to call it deceptive by any means, but when you have to click through 4 pages to be able to get some of the stuff that I'm going to be showing you today, there's a little bit of a concern on that. And we're going to be touching base on the hidden changes that aren't on the surface level. So by surface level, I mean, when you click on the thing and it says, this is the 2009 early spring update, and boom, you have all your information. That's your front page. And then you click into the FAQ, and that's your second page. And it says, oh, if you want more information on this, you click on that, and that's your third page. And then when you get to that one, it says, if you want even more information, you want to read the full policy, click here. So the relevant bits, I've gone ahead and pulled all of that together for you this evening, so you don't have to. Those of you who don't know, the Patreon funding is what allows this to happen. It took 20 hours to put together this presentation for you today, so that way you can understand the complexities of this seller update in hopefully 1 hour. I don't want to be on this all night because I know you guys have better things to be doing. no one wants to have to sit here and listen to me talk about this seller update. As much as I know you appreciate me, we just got some information to churn through. And the last thing, we're going to be talking on and off about this, is understanding the motives behind this early release of the change. Long story short, if you didn't watch my episode 3 weeks ago when we talked about the Elliott Management fiasco, which is Elliott Management is a hedge fund company that purchased 4.5% of eBay. They ended up going into negotiations. They've earned a seat on the board of directors to be able to make decisions and stuff that happens with eBay, and they put a lot of pressure on eBay to make some of the changes that we're going to be looking at today. So it's important to understand that eBay is in a position where some of these changes are happening, and a lot of it is almost out of their control at this point. But at the same time, Elliott Management spent a lot of money doing market research, and I understand that some people are going to look at what I'm saying, and they know that I've had a very critical eye of eBay in the past, especially, we have a sponsor, which is another selling site, Prairie Grit. But I want you to know that my journalistic integrity comes first and foremost before anything else, and I can positively say that more than half of the changes that I've seen happen in this seller update, I can say are good changes. I'm actually in support of a majority of the changes, but there are going to be some things that I am not a fan of, which of course we will touch base on here shortly. So what else do we have here? So the next one up is we're going to be talking about sending offers to buyers. Now, if you remember before, we had a different format to be able to do this, okay? But now we have this new one right now, and this program is actually going to be starting in March. Now, like I said, similar programs before. Now, with the similar one that they had before, you were required to have best offer on your listing. With this new format, you are not going to need that. So now the complex part of it, though, is that I can't tell you exactly why some listings are going to be eligible and some listings are not going to be eligible. And I want you to know that I listened to the podcast production, the radio production. I read the notes that were left behind on the eBay for Business, as well as watching the eBay for Business production. I couldn't get a concrete answer, and they even specifically said that more details for eligible listings will be coming out down the line. So the first thing that we were able to ascertain, we got some details, tiny ones, is that the item has to have watchers on it. So basically what I believe that they're going to be doing is they're going to be targeting watchers again, just like they did before with the best offer opportunity, but the item has to have watchers on it. Secondly, they're going to be looking at the listing format, which when they said that didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, because you're not going to be sending an offer on an item that is an auction item, unless maybe you have the buy it now format too. And then when we talk about the format, we're going to be talking a little bit later about changes to good on buy it now listings. So it seems like that type of catch-all answer is just kind of something to satiate our taste buds for information as far as what's going on right now. The next factor they said too that they're going to be evaluating is the age of the listing, which again, are we talking that it's something that's going to be eligible on items that just went up, or are they going to be looking more at long tail items? Now, I know eBay has made this push before in the past to try and make it so that way, items that have been stagnant in your inventory, they'll say, hey, lower this price. You can go ahead and get this pushed through. You can, go ahead and make the sale, lower your price and make the sale. And I appreciate their intent to try and help us convert on some of these items. But on the other end, I don't think they understand the mindset of the consumer in the sense that there's certain times and reasons why we will hug our prices and we're not really looking to flex on them. And if we were, we would probably have best offer on our listing, because you have to understand the motive on this one again. And I'm going to use the word motive a lot. eBay's motive is to make money. Plain and simple. The more items that we sell, the more money they make. That's one of the only ways that they're making their money. Now, obviously, we know they're double dipping into the cookie jar because they have their, what do you call it? They have the store fees just for having your listings online, and then they also have your marketing fees, your promoted listing fees. So they just want to see things convert through. They want to see people sell stuff. So I can't really fault them on. Sorry, wrong screen, guys. So when we look at some of the pros and cons of this type of action that we're seeing right now, the first big pro that jumps out to me is that it's going to increase buyer engagement. So anytime we have an opportunity to be able to have a consumer spend more time on the platform, and they're actually looking at more items, and they're talking about these items, and they're receiving correspondence about these items, it's a very, very good thing. It really harkens back to a time when I think of the auction formats that were happening on eBay long ago. Think about back to, I don't know, 1998, 99, 2000. Auctions were a huge deal on eBay. You would overhear people talking about, oh yeah, I got this for a great deal on eBay. I only paid like $6. I won it at auction. And people were talking and people were engaging with the platform on a very, very frequent level. And now when we look at where the platform's at now, people go on there, make their purchase and leave. People don't go on there, shop and browse and look around. I mean, you obviously have your collectors and your niche type buyers, but as a whole, the platform has truly changed. I do believe personally that eBay is attempting to get back to a place where you can have that type of regular engagement with the consumer. Look at what Amazon does. Amazon sends me out these emails all the time. I know you guys get them too. Do you ever get annoyed with the emails? I really don't, because generally they're well targeted and they're things that I've looked at and they're telling me about new deals that are going on, and that engagement makes sense. Now, when eBay sends out emails, I frankly get annoyed with them. Now, obviously as a seller, I sell on Amazon too, but I'm getting bombarded with them. It seems like it's a little bit of overload, and we're going to talk about that in a second as well. And I apologize for saying that so often. Some of these things are going to be segmented out, and I had to rewrite this script about 4 times to make the notes as digestible as possible. But one of the other pros too is it's going to give you the potential to move some of your stagnant inventory. We talked before in the past about different ways that you can do that now, whether that be, upgrading your pictures, upgrading your titles, upgrading keywords, repricing your items, looking into bundles. And then one of the biggest and strongest things that we talked about was diversifying your portfolio, whether that means spreading your items out into different avenues. That could be local sale, that could be alternative selling sites. There's a lot of different options to be able to move some of that stagnant inventory, but eBay's feeling is that they can get some of this stuff out of the door. Now, when we think about consumer dollars and the amount that's actually available out there, I don't know if we can really say that making small nickel and dime adjustments on some of these listings, even 5, 10, 15, 20% type price reductions, will actually increase the sales velocity of dead stock, but that is part of the idea behind it. One of the other things too that they're looking to take away from this is learning more about buyer habits. What actually creates a consistent buyer and a consistent shopper on the platform? They've tried things in the past, and you guys have all seen this. We've seen them give out these $5 coupons, $10 coupons, 20% off a specific targeted brand like a Dyson or something to that effect. We've seen them try and do these things many times before, but the problem is that they're not getting any sticking power, and it's because they're not getting real usable data. And I can't say this enough. Data, data, data. It is king. If you don't understand your consumers, your shoppers, the buyers, and their habits, what brings them back to the site, what actually makes them make purchases, how are you going to grow? We've talked about this on promoted listings before. If you're spending your 1%, and I talked with somebody the other day, nice guy, spending 10% on all of his items on promoted listings, if you can't prove what that is what is happening and what benefit that has for you and your brand, it's worthless. It's all about the data numbers and being able to convert that into real information. And then you take that information, you adjust how you do business moving forward, and you become a smarter seller. So that's the thing that eBay really should focus on with some of these changes, is empowering the seller to make better decisions. And we're not talking just on the sales end. This type of information can be valuable on the buying end as well. If I can understand the habits of consumers, I can become a better seller. So we got a comment in from Matthew Eason. Thank you again, as always, a wonderful patron, good friend of mine. I've noticed that my item does sell faster when eBay prompts me to lower the price. However, it's not very good for my profit margin. Yeah. But at the same time, though, I think it's basic economics. Cheaper items are always going to sell quicker than more expensive items. So some empirical data would be really, really nice that says, this item's been on the site for 30 days. eBay steps in and tells you to lower it by 5%. They made no changes to your listing whatsoever. Beyond that, they didn't promote it any further, and then poof, it's sold. And if we can show a track record of that happening many, many times over, or even within a specific category, let's say, I know you work with knives. If it's very consistent with knives at a 5% discount below a retail or below a trending price can convert to higher sales, I'm all for that. Just show me the data. Give me that information so that we can use it. And that's one of the big things that Elliott Management really pushed onto eBay. And they said, we need, the actual numbers to be able to make smarter decisions. Because we looked at eBay, they looked at eBay's finances as a whole, and they said, why are you spending so much money? Why is it so expensive to cover, the cost of labor and management and just administration? What do they call it? R&A? Why is administration cost so darn high for your company? Show us where that dollars are going. Show us, you spent, 5 million, 10 million, 20 million last quarter on advertising. Show me what you did with it. And eBay was unable to. And that's why we're seeing some changes happening on the other end. So those are some of the pros. And and one other thing too that I really do like about this change is that when you send these offers out to people, I believe they're only going to be lasting for 24 hours. My notes say 24 hours, but I want to say it's 48. Okay, so don't quote me on that. I'm almost sure it's 48 hours, but we'll say between 24 and 48 hours for now. That's how long they last. What this does is it creates, again, that type of buzz, that type of excitement that we saw happening with auctions back in the day. It creates a fear of loss scenario where if the customer only has so much time to get it, and they also let the customer know that they're competing with everyone else on the internet who could potentially buy it at full price, and then if they don't buy it, that discounted price is gone. Okay, so there are some pros to that. I got a comment in from Matthew again. If an item sits for a while, I don't mind lowering the price. I'm happy to move it. Certain items, I'm all for that. Somebody had this expression or this saying regarding their pricing model. They had, their dream price, the price like they really hope to get. They had their get it now price, and then they had a get it out the door price 3 months later, 6 months later. Me as a seller, I don't have a problem letting an item sit on eBay for a year, 2 years, 3 years, if that's what it takes for me to get the price that I want to get on my item. So now when we look at the inverse and we look at some of the cons on this, and I'm going to pause and get some coffee really, really quick. You'll have to forgive me, guys. It's giving me an hour of pure talking. So when we look at some of the cons on this, what we're looking at is there's concerns on my end that things could come across as being a little bit spammy. I talked about this earlier. Now, the problem with the way that they're setting up this program right now is this is not a opt-in program. This is an opt-out program. So if you don't want to receive these messages, you have to let eBay know personally that you don't want to get them. You can also set your account up so that you can limit the amount that you get. And I've noticed in other groups, people play this game of watch 5 items and I'll watch one of yours. And I've got nothing against that. Okay. More watchers has been proven to increase rank on items and help items sell through. Sure. That's great and all, but every single item you're watching, you can start expecting to get messages on those periodically over time. And I'll tell you, it's going to get really, really annoying, especially, I know for a fact, there's people who are going to go ahead and send out those emails and they're going to offer 1% off. And they're going to say, well, why not? It's going to get the email out. Somebody's going to see it. Maybe it'll remind them of the item. And if enough people do this 1% off, it's going to destroy the entire system. It's going to defeat the purpose of doing this at all. Be mindful, guys. Be mindful of this. Don't spam your customers, especially if you have a very tight niche. If you're somebody that works with a very specific handmade type of product. Let's say you work within print, okay? And, we're going to talk about these cards here a little bit later. And you have 100 designs and they're very specific to a very narrow type of field. And you have the opportunity to do this. You don't want to kick out messages every single day on your listings or your customers are going to start getting very upset. They're not going to realize that you're the one who's in control of that button that decides how often these messages go out. eBay isn't in control of the frequency. You're in control of the frequency. Now, obviously, the consumer is in control of how much they'd like to hear, but you got to be a little bit careful with it. Aaron Kluge says, nice to hear another reseller speaking my language about actual platform improvements. Thank you, Aaron. And while I'm on it, guys, if you haven't done so yet, do me a solid. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. If you guys did not know, I'm at 972 subscribers, and you know what number that's really close to? 1,000. And also, guys, another thing too, if you haven't done so, do me a favor, click that like button. And the reason why I'm asking you to do that is if you click that like button, guess what? eBay is going to, or not eBay, doesn't do this for me. YouTube is going to go ahead and serve this video up to more people, and we might even have a chance of trending in the educational area, which means it would help my channel out. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, we're able to monetize this channel, which means I can make bigger videos. The unique reseller says I was number 972. Thank you. And if you're number 973, 974, 975, go ahead and leave that comment below. I'd really, really appreciate it. The more comments we get, it definitely helps with trending as well. But yes, Aaron, I am pleased to be the voice of reason and intelligence within this community and help dispel the myths and misnomers regarding selling on eBay. There's a lot of conjecture out there about what the right way to do things is, and I'm trying to just kind of narrow in and help people understand that there's one real right way, and then there's a lot of other ways to do it too. And again, not gonna point fingers at anyone. I love all the other people within this community, but fact-based information means so much to me. So let's go ahead and head back over to this hot sheet again. We got a few more cons, believe it or not. Could have buyers potentially unsubscribe or block eBay messages, which could in turn hurt sellers. As of right now, I have somewhere in the area of about 600 to 800 people following my eBay store. I really, really hammer out very specialized items. I have a few of them back here behind me. These Turok Rage Wars, I have the largest private collection in the world on these, brand new. These Vinylmation figures, the largest private holding of this figure in the world, and certain things like that, I can market those to very specific clientele. And if my clientele decides I don't want to receive messages anymore, it's going to hurt me. It's really going to hurt my bottom line. So eBay needs to be very careful about how they roll this out. We don't want people just blanket unsubscribing or potentially even closing their accounts out because they don't like getting messages. Roger says right now, I will block the messages. I don't like getting them at all. So yeah, some people, it can be a little bit much for them, and I know some people are even swearing off eBay right now because like I said, here's the thing. No one else is talking about what's in the next update. I know what's in the next update. Okay, I know the 3 key things that are coming up in April, and no one else is mentioning them, and you're going to want to stick around towards the end because we are going to be covering that as well. And it kind of leans itself on what Roger's going towards right now. One of the next things too is we don't have the needed information to be able to target our products to these consumers. Again, like I said, if we had the metrics and the information to be able to make educated decisions about what types of items we list, even when we choose to list them, and how we're allowed to be able to target consumers, we can make our listings more valuable to eBay, the brand as a whole, because we know that it'll help our bottom line as well. Give us that information, eBay. I can't stress this enough. I know somebody from eBay watches these videos and digests what I'm talking about. And I really wish they would take the time to put these presentations together for sellers, but we need this information. We're not, and the problem that I've had with eBay for years and years on end is sometimes they treat us like children. Okay, we're smart adults making smart buying and selling decisions. Give us the information we need to run our store successfully. Don't keep us at arm's length. We promise we won't mess things up. Okay, we'll make sure the house doesn't burn down while you're gone. This is also being mentioned as a addition, an add-on to the other available tools that are being put out there for sellers. Tools included promoted listings, volume pricing, promoting manager, and utilization of best offer. They felt it was important to bundle these things together as other things that you can do to be able to increase your volume on eBay. Hello to you, Mindy. Better late than never. Thank you again to Mindy Coy. She is one of our fantastic admins, not only here on YouTube, but on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/Bolorama. Join the discussion. Always a good one. So, why are we seeing these changes? This is an important thing to understand too. One, the big one is they're trying to increase velocity on eBay, more sales, okay? More sales, more money. They're trying to increase the revenue for sellers. And lastly, they're trying to improve the customer experience with better deals. If everything works the way that it's intended to work, the mindset that they have is a positive one. Like, hey, we're going to make money. The sellers are going to get better deals. The buyers are going to get better deals. And then the sellers are going to make more money too. The idea is sound. It makes sense. It makes perfect sense that this is going to be a good thing for everyone involved. I don't knock them for this change. I'm happy to see this type of change come along. But did you notice right there what else I put on the screen? Look at this one right there. Volume pricing. Now, I really want to know this. Show of hands in the comments. How many of you have actually heard about volume pricing? Like really, honest to God, if you've heard about it, please let me know. If you've never heard of volume pricing before, I'd love to know. And the reason why some of you may have never heard of it before is because volume pricing is a new feature to eBay that actually came out a couple of weeks ago. Okay, they didn't include it in this update. It was included before the update, and it was really, really odd how this happened. That it kind of just like, just kind of slipped in there. It's like, hey, just so you guys know, if you want to sell items in bulk. In quantity, go ahead. You can do that, you know. And also, if you happen to be an international seller, this is going to benefit you as well because you're going to be able to ship more products overseas. So if you aren't using volume pricing, I'm gonna break it down for you. This is an important thing to understand as well. So, like I said, it happened before this update. And the basic idea is to be able to create quantity discounts on identical items as well as different items. And I know that sounds a little bit complex, but basically, let's say you have a store that has 3 items available available in the store for sale. Here, I can probably even pull up 3 items right now. Okay, so you have 3 items. What a selection of items. Okay, you have a Little Mermaid pen. You have a light up mirror, a little selfie light, and then you have a music box, okay? You got these 3 items for sale on your store, and you decide, hey, I want to do a volume discount. You can say, I want to include this item, I want to include this item, but I don't want to include this item. Now, your store can obviously have more items in it. If somebody goes to your store and they decide they want to put these 2 inside their cart, you can say, hey, okay, if you buy these 2 together, I'm going to go ahead and give you 10% off on your purchase. Now, you could even have quantity. You could say, I have 100 of these. If you buy 10 of these, you know, or 20 of these, and then you even throw just 1 of these in, you're still going to get that volume discount. Or even if you buy 2 of these, you're going to get the volume discount. But if you buy these 2 and you throw this one in your cart, this one isn't part of the volume discount. So you'll still get the volume discount on these 2, but you're not going to get any discount on this. And then obviously this scenario, volume discount, no volume discount, okay? There's going to be no combined discount on these 2 items together. Does that make sense? I really hope that makes sense. So if A and B are on discount and C is not, if C is part of that, you are not going to be getting a discount on C. So let's see what we have here. Rachel says, I used volume pricing before. Now, did you use the old format of volume pricing where it was on a single item? This new multi-item volume pricing is very, very interesting. Matthew says, I've never heard of volume pricing. So Trina says, is it something different than the markdown for multiple items? It's kind of to that effect. So let me take a look here. I'm sorry, guys. You're going to have to forgive me. There's a lot of noise and movement outside of the office right now. So that's the example right there. Now, there are certain sellers who are truly going to benefit from this change, okay? So the biggest people who are going to benefit the most are sellers who have very, very heavy items. So if you're somebody who has something that you're shipping out that's, even if it's over a pound, or if you're in one of those categories where it's over 10 pounds, for instance, and you have the ability to put multiples of these items together and encourage sellers to buy more of them at one time, it's really, really going to help those people out because it's going to allow you to increase your margins without really messing too much with your bottom line. The idea of the volume discount is that you're banking against the discount on your shipping by being able to put things together and not so much banking against lowering your profit margins on the individual items. In most scenarios, the profit margins are actually going to be higher. Another thing too is that this really benefits retailers who do not have relationships with wholesalers. So let's say you own a store and your store specializes in, I don't know, Chinese bowls, okay? And you've been buying wholesale Chinese bowls for the longest time, but you don't have a place to be able to go to get good prices on chopsticks. It's like apples and oranges. Like obviously the 2 items are similar in nature, but it requires 2 separate vendors to be able to work with. But you know you're not going to be buying enough of them to really make it worth your trouble, and you don't even want to have to go through the trouble of opening up a new contact or going through Alibaba or just going through all that hassle. If you're a retail establishment, this is going to give you an opportunity to take advantage of really, really good deals in a category that you normally wouldn't be getting great pricing on, where you maybe be going on and buying 1 at a time, maybe 10 at a time at a pseudo volume discount, but now you'll actually be able to see the percentage that you're saving. So I can really see a benefit to not only the sellers, but the buyers as well. Now, the only other issue, though, with this, because all things are going to have pros and cons, is that it can potentially make it difficult for resellers to compete against those who have direct relationships with brands where the margins are small. Okay, so I don't know if that's really making sense to you guys, but if you already have a working relationship with a specific brand, it's going to encourage more so that the brand work directly with eBay, because they are going to be able to push along volume discounts direct to consumer, and they're not so much going to be needing a middleman to handle some of that slack that was handled previously. So bear that in mind. If you are somebody who's working with a brand directly right now, make sure you have your paperwork in place, obviously. Make sure you have some type of non-compete within the specific markets that you are choosing to sell within, because if you don't, this is going to pretty much roll out the carpet for them to come along. Now, this is more so along the lines of things that are going to benefit people, obviously, who are selling brand new items. Now, we've talked about this transition from used to new for a long time now. We've talked about how eBay is making this transition and how 20 years ago, 90+% of eBay was used items. And now if we look at eBay, it's somewhere in the area of about 15%. I haven't gotten the hard numbers yet. I can guarantee you it's under 20%, but I believe it's around 15% of the items on eBay are used right now. So if you're like me and you're moving a lot of used inventory, okay, this is not going to be something that's going to benefit you a ton, because we have a lot of one-off stuff. Okay, but if you have quantity on something, this could be a good thing for you. Or if you had stuff where you would say historically it wasn't going to be worth it to ship it and you normally bulk them out, this is going to give you a little more flexibility on what you can do. Now, who does this benefit the most? The person who's going to benefit the most from this, it's going to be international sellers. Okay, the reason for that is because international sellers have already gotten historically very, very hurt on the shipping cost of getting items in domestically. Excuse me, let me rephrase that. They've had a lot of trouble getting items here to America and really being able to take advantage of competitive pricing because of their shipping costs. Now, obviously with the exception of ePacket, but when we're talking about larger quantity, they haven't really been able to compete too much. They've competed on the, 3 pounds and under, but now they're going to be in a position where they can compete on the 3 pounds and over. Now, obviously, e-packets are slowly working their way out the door, and I don't mean to continually plug this, but if you haven't seen the video yet regarding Orange Connex and the connection with eBay, it's very, very much so worth watching. I'm going to go ahead and, oh my God, one of my soundproof panels just fell off the window behind me. So bit.ly/eBay revealed. Make sure you check that out after the show. eBay is actually in a position to make the most money because of this. They have a working relationship, they own a company called Orange Connex, which now provides a shipping service for Chinese sellers and Japanese sellers to be able to get their products from China and Japan to America. They own the company that handles the shipping to help sellers onshore their inventory. And the range on SpeedPack goes greater than the range on ePackets. So eBay stands to make a lot of money by allowing volume pricing to happen for international sellers. Keep that in mind, okay? Because we've talked about this before. When you're working on a platform that's overrun with chintzy goods, it makes it difficult for your products to stand out and above from the rest. This is why diversification is so key. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Pushing the site further to new items only format. It's a little bit of a scary thing. So that's all the stuff there that we've talked about. If you have any questions, again, please don't be afraid to leave them in the comments down below. We have a lot more stuff to cover still, but I will slow down and answer any of your questions. Thank you to the 50 of you who are watching right now. And again, please, guys, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. It definitely helps my channel out. We are so close to hitting 1,000 subscribers. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at Seller Hub updates. I want to let you know we're about halfway through this presentation. If you don't have a pen and paper yet, I recommend you grab one. Seller Hub updates. Okay, now you're going to be able to edit on the back end without having to click the revise button. Hallelujah, about time. Would it take like 30 years to be able to do this? I can do this on, a handful of other platforms already, and I understand it's a logistical nightmare to make work, but when you're looking at a company that's worth $32 billion, billion with the B, okay, which stands for, buttloads of cash, okay, You should be able to have these changes done years ago. I don't understand why it took so long, but now when you're looking on your back end, you're on your summary page, you're going to be able to click on the actual field, whether it be the price, whether it be, the item tag, the item information field. What else are you able to adjust? You can adjust the shipping price, the item price, the quantity of the items available, okay, and the name or the title of that item as well. So you're going to be able to adjust quite a few fields in the back. Oh, it's on my screen here. Price, quantity, custom label fields, and you can add best offer to your listings as well, all from the back end. It's really, really nice. I've taken a look at the screenshots that they provided of it. It seems like it's going to be a nice addition to the site. It's all about making things easier. Big thumbs up to eBay for making this change. The next one, files are now available for downloading. So if you don't know what a CSV file is, a comma separated file, which basically means if you're somebody who's done any level of bookkeeping whatsoever, what it basically stands for is that you're going to be able to see all of the information on your sales and be able to import this information into other tax type software as well as bookkeeping software. Matthew Easton says, how do you search for items with volume pricing? There currently isn't a tab for that, but that's a really, really good suggestion. That's something that they should add, and I will make sure that gets pushed along. But for right now, yeah, you definitely just want to do a little bit of digging. Depending on the type of item you're working with, it will change its relevancy or its frequency within search. And I'll definitely, feel free to send me a message later. I'll see what we can figure out about that one. So CSV file is a comma separated file. So what you're going to see is you're going to see your item title, you're going to see your price of your item, the sales date of the item. You're also going to be seeing the associative shipping cost if you had a shipping cost on that item. And the most important field that you're going to be seeing on there is you're going to be seeing the remitted tax amount of that item. So a remitted tax amount is the amount of money that eBay charged the buyer for taxes, that they went ahead and took that tax money so that you didn't have to, and then passed it along to the government on your behalf. This is a huge deal. Now, before you go ahead and sit here and say, oh my God, eBay's taking care of all my taxes, they are not. They truly are not. And we're going to get to why here in just a few minutes. If anything that you're going to take away today, it's important that you take away this tax information, okay? This is the most important part of our entire talk. But understanding what a CSV file is important too. If you are using a pen and paper right now, if you're using a pen and paper right now, it's important to know that these CSV files only go back 90 days. 90 days. Why? Why is eBay doing this? It is not difficult to maintain these records longer. It is literally a text file. We're talking less than a couple of megabytes to be able to hold seller information back for years, but they're only allowing you to go back 90 days. So if you are somebody who does desperately need this for bookkeeping information, and every one of us who needs this for tax information, set reminders to download this file every single quarter. We are going to put updates on our Facebook page. January 1, February, March, April 1. Okay, we're going to be doing every single quarter on the 1st. We will run a post on our page telling people go on eBay and download your CSV file. Okay, this is going to be the most accurate and most comprehensive way to be able to keep track of your tax information. Okay, and you're going to be needing this in the future. What else? Yeah. So that's the important bit on that. Here, give me 1 second, guys. I really got to open a door. It is hot in here. My God, summer is coming quick here in Bakersfield. And the other thing too, like I said, the scope of this functionality is a little bit narrow. I wish it was a little bit better, but it is not. We're going to have to take what we can get for now. But if you have suggestions about that and you'd like me to pass them along to eBay, don't be afraid to leave them in the comments. Next slide up. Taxes and what you need to know. Now, again, I'm putting the disclaimer above my head. Nothing said during this portion of the show is meant to be construed as tax advice. Always consult a tax professional for guidance. Okay, and if you look over here to the side, what does it say right there? This is an eBay font, eBay frame pulled from their website. If you are selling on eBay as a business, what constitutes a business, guys? A business is if you're selling more than a yard sales amount worth of goods online. Okay, that's what the government considers you doing business. If you have more than a yard sales worth of goods, okay, or if you are intentionally buying items with the intent to sell them online for a profit, okay, There is no true minimum number. The government does not give a number. Government doesn't say, oh, it's $500 or $1,000 or $5,000 in this state, or if I don't sell more than $16,000, I'm exempt from paying my taxes. That is false. This is a narrative I've seen driven in many groups. If you are selling more than a yard sales worth of amount of goods or buying stuff with the intent to sell for a profit, you are a business. Okay? As much as you want to deny it. Okay? So, that being said, the 52 of you who are watching right now, you're not watching me because I look really good in this wine-colored Mark Echo shirt. You're watching me because you're an eBay seller who runs a business online. And this is important stuff for you to know. First thing, massive additions to tax regulation and eBay's terms of services. They made a lot of changes in the back end for terms of services. The next 4 slides all have to do with taxes, okay? And changes to how we communicate with international clients outside of Global Shipping Program, GSP. So if you are predominantly using GSP, you do not need to worry about that. But if you are not using GSP and you are doing private sales to international sellers, there has been policy changes on how you interact with them. And if you do not interact with them correctly, guess what? You can get stuck with a return and or get stuck paying custom and import duties on an item because you didn't declare that to a buyer. Madness. Why is no one else talking about this? Why isn't this on like the front page of, eBay, selling online? This is important stuff that people need to know. If you're one of those Redditors, okay, and you're enjoying this content, go share it with them, please. I try sharing content on there and they're not welcoming of us YouTubers trying to disseminate falsehoods online. Okay, so here's our tax table overview. I've got to switch up some screens up top here because it's very, very tiny on my screen as well as your screen. And I apologize for that, but I will read everything that's on the screen to you. So now the reason why we're using screen grabs right now is because it's very, very important that I do not misconstrue the information regarding taxes that eBay put on their page. Now, if you haven't seen some of the slides on the next pages, it's because they are buried deep within the eBay terms of services. So the first one is just a general tax policy overview. As a condition of using eBay, you agree to comply with all applicable laws, statutes, ordinance, and regulations regarding the use of eBay's website and services, your listings, your solicitations of offers to purchase, and the sales of your items. Sellers are responsible for paying all fees and taxes associated with using eBay. Please review the eBay user agreement for more details regarding your responsibility as an eBay member. Here is the most important takeaway from this screen. eBay will share your eBay information with government authorities if we are required to do so by law. Make sure that you follow these guidelines. If you do not, you may be subject to a range of actions. We may limit, restrict, or suspend you from buying, selling, or using site features. Your listings may be removed, displayed lower, or not shown in search results without refunding any or applicable fees. You may also forfeit special account status and any discounts. Holy cow, guys. Why is no one talking about this? We got some comments coming in. A yard sale's worth of items is extremely vague. Yes, it is. And the government has done that intentionally. I wish they would give a specific dollar amount, but they don't want to be held accountable to that. And I guess it's subjective. You could be somebody who has a yard sales worth of items and it could be a couple $100s. You could be somebody else who could be a couple $1,000s. I don't think they want to pin it down because I think people will work right up to that amount. And I think it's just kind of like a good faith type thing. But yeah, back on this. Holy cow, guys. Tell me that isn't nuts that that eBay is taking such a hardline stance. And I kind of don't blame them, But they are really, really pushing the bill on what I feel they think they can get away with. Off to the side here, we are showing the states that are currently, they have their tax laws in place as well as the dates. Minnesota being the one with the most information right now, saying that small business exemption. Minnesota has enacted a small business exemption for out-of-state unregistered sellers whose taxable retail sales into Minnesota are less than $10,000 in the previous 12 months. These sellers are not subject to the Minnesota market tax place, and eBay will be collecting sales tax on these transactions, or will not be. eBay will not be collecting sales tax on these transactions. So what does that mean? That means if you, the seller, are a volume seller, let's say you do $200,000 a year, or for some godforsaken reason, people in Minnesota, they just love your stuff. They think it's great. And why would they think it's great? Well, maybe because you're not charging sales tax, because you don't have to charge sales tax, right? That's kind of how I read that you don't have to charge sales tax until when? Until you've done $10,000 worth of volume. So how does that work? How does it work if I sell $9,900 worth of items to Minnesota? I don't charge anyone for sales tax, and then the very last month of the year, boom, somebody goes on there and they buy $201 worth of goods from my eBay store. Guess what? I'm in the $10,001 bracket now. How do I go get my taxes? How do I go back and charge everyone for those taxes that were originally supposed to, that I originally wanted to charge? Okay, and we can even take it a step further. I'm not allowed to charge taxes on those people if I don't have the means or the need to charge those sales taxes. You are not allowed to collect sales tax if you're not supposed to collect that sales tax, even if you take that money and you just give it away to the government, even if you never keep it. You are legally not allowed. Let me conjecture again. My interpretation of this law says that you are not allowed to collect sales tax on these people until you've reached this threshold. So I'm not fully understanding how this is even supposed to work. Now, there's only a handful of other states that are even in the system right now where eBay is going to be working to remit over these thresholds, or if there is no threshold. We're looking at Minnesota, Washington, Iowa, Connecticut, New Jersey, Alabama, Oklahoma, and Pennsylvania. And a majority of these places, we have the effective dates, places as far as Pennsylvania looking at July 1st, 2019. What about between now and then? Guess what? You're required to collect taxes on those places. Now, I will say this, eBay has gone to great length to try and resolve the problem. They've partnered up with a company called Vertex. Vertex is one of the largest brands for working with e-commerce companies to be able to help collect and remit sales taxes on behalf of brands that are selling online. Who else are they working with? They're working with Walmart, okay? And Walmart's e-commerce is pretty darn fantastic. So if we could see that same level of integration with eBay, we're all going to be in a great place. But if we don't see this happening, we're all kind of up shit creek in all reality, okay? Because right now, there's something like 1,400 different tax jurisdictions. I'm not going to manage that. And I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of sellers out there whose margins are junk. Okay. And no disrespect to anyone. If you're an eBay seller and you're making a couple $1,000s a year and that makes you happy, great. If you're a seller who's making $10,000 a year and that makes you happy, also great. But now let me ask you, are you going to be able to afford a CPA on top of that? Are you going to be able to afford somebody who's going to be able to sit there, manage your books, and cover your tax liability each and every year? What happens if you make a mistake? Okay. I am frankly a touch bit worried about this tax situation. Even myself, I know where my margins are. I don't want to spend, let's just say I'm frugal, and let's say I get a killer deal and I'm spending like $2,000 or something, but the thing is, this isn't like the old school days where you would get a CPA at the end of the year and they'd help you figure out your numbers on the books. I think we're coming into a situation where you're just going to need to have a CPA. You're just going to need somebody to help you run your numbers throughout the year just to make sure that you're not falling into a position where you are tax liable or you owe more money because you didn't collect sales taxes within a certain place. So looking back on this slide, now you know eBay's stance on taxes. And then the next thing too, I was supposed to cover this in the last slide. Let me bump this back really quick. I want to explain this GSP thing, Global Shipping Program. If you're using GSP and you never sell direct to consumer, this means nothing to you. If you are somebody who sells direct to consumer international customers outside of America, okay, you are now required to make sure that you tell your customer that they are going to be responsible for VAT or custom duties or any import costs that may be incurred by them by buying your item. Now, you don't have to stop and calculate the amount and tell me it's going to be this much and all this and the other, but you will need to send out a letter that lets them know before they make the purchase. So if somebody is asking like, hey, will you ship this to me? You need to make sure that they know before they make that buy. If you don't, they're going to be eligible to cancel that buy. If you go ahead and ship that item out and you haven't told them, guess what? You can get stuck. Now, here's the thing. You can get stuck either foot in the bill or stuck foot in the cost to have it shipped back, and you're going to get stuck in a situation where you can have a negative feedback tacked on your account, and guess what? You're in the wrong. You're going to be stuck with that negative feedback, and there's going to be no tidy way of getting that lifted off for you. I will be putting together a letter. It will be available on our Facebook group, 100% free of charge. All you have to do is join our Facebook group. We're going to put it inside the file section. It's going to be a letter that you can send out to buyers that it's going to tell them For your international customers, just download it and save it to your computer, and you just mail it out to them. It's just going to be a simple breakdown of things that you need to let them know that's going to keep you covered so that way you don't get burned when that happens, okay? So here's our next slide, taxes and what you need to know. So again, I'm sorry guys, it's tax law, but I mean, this is the future of eBay. We have to know these things. So applying for tax exemption on your eBay fees, which is a thing that you can actually do. If you use your eBay account exclusively for business purposes, you can apply for tax exemption on your eBay fees by providing them with your tax registration number. Okay, if you apply for exemption from tax on your eBay fees, all information related to your request, including personal information and your tax or business registration number, will be transferred to, stored in, and processed in the United States and elsewhere in accordance with the terms of the eBay user agreement. eBay reserves the right to request additional verification regarding your taxable status from your government authorities and such permitted by law. I'm turning down my microphone a little bit because I am peaking, guys. So if you have to turn your volume up on your end, it's going to keep me from cracking on my end. Okay, so the other thing too, sellers' tax responsibilities. Okay, you are responsible for paying all fees and taxes associated with using eBay as an eBay seller. Okay, your tax-related responsibilities may include paying sales tax on eBay sales. Paying sales tax on eBay sales. So if you do not collect it, guess who has to pay for it? Paying income tax on eBay sales. Okay, informing overseas buyers about import charges. Okay, Trina says, a letter. What if they buy it straight out? I thought eBay used to have messages for them that told them that. Now, you can also place a disclaimer within your eBay listings, which is something that I'm going to be doing in the future from here on out. We call it our fill. So every item I have, I put my fill into, and it basically says smoke-free, pet-free home. We're willing to work with customers. If you find a cheaper price elsewhere, let us know. We'll do our best to work with you. It includes my shipping information, yada, yada, yada. So in my fill, I'm going to put a thing in there that says, we are more than happy to work with international buyers. If you are interested in buying this and your country is not showing as eligible, please contact us. But do understand all international customers outside of Global Ship Program will be responsible for VAT, customs, and any other associated fees of doing business. I do also want to throw this out there while we're on the topic. If you are selling international, go ahead and tack on an extra fee. I do it on every single international sale I do. It's my handling fee. And if I have to manage the box, because here's the thing, when I'm shipping further away, I'm going to spend more money on my boxes and my packing material, and I have to go to a full-size printer, print out a customs form, sign it, and shove it inside of a bag. I charge an extra $10 for that convenience. Now, if they don't want to do that, and if it's not on GSP, I'm probably not going to take the time to work with them. So I always tell them it's going to be an additional $10 charge, and obviously it's your business, your way. I've been doing this for 10 years now. Okay, I've probably collected $4,000 worth of, and it ranges. Some people I charge $20 or even $30 for. Like if I'm sending a large painting and you want me to box this bad boy up for an international sale, I'm going to charge you an extra $50, okay? If you want something, I don't know, like this beautiful Minecraft potion bottle back here, look at this thing. Yeah, if you want something smaller like that, I'm going to charge you an extra $10. It's just for my convenience. It's just for my time. It does take me extra time to get these things done. Just like what we're doing right now. This takes time and money. Mindy Coy says, why does this have to be so complicated? eBay could collect taxes so easily. And here's the thing. eBay is trying. This partnership with Vertex, they're working, I don't want to say partnership, I apologize for that word. Their working relationship with Vertex is a very expensive one. I'm almost sure of it. So I totally give them the benefit of the doubt that they are trying, because they understand that if all of us are responsible in the way that I am reading it over here, they are going to bleed sellers. They are going to hemorrhage them badly. And who is this going to hurt the most? Us, okay? It's not going to hurt, Joe Big Box retailer. It's not going to hurt, Donnie drop shipper. Okay, it's not going to hurt them. It's going to hurt the people who are going out hand sourcing inventory, working one item at a time. Okay, just looking to make an honest buck online. That's the person who's going to hurt the most. The used item reseller, the used item flipper. So it's important we know these things so that we can try and do our best to pad ourselves for the future. But I can't stress this enough. Diversification, diversification, diversification. If you're only doing e-commerce, message me. I can give you some other options. There's a lot of ways to make money from your house, a lot of ways to diversify your portfolio. Below that, we can see where they're talking about the Supreme Court ruled in favor of South Dakota. This was South Dakota versus Wayfair. Wayfair being the online e-commerce giant who went up against them. And we had this talk, what was it, about 4 months ago regarding Nexus, and Nexus basically refers to where you are doing business at. So me here in California, my Nexus is in California. My tax liability used to be in California only. And the way it would work is if I sold to people in California, those were the people I was charging sales tax to. And if the item went out someplace else, I used to not be responsible for that. That's how they were attempting to pitch it. And that's when we had the volume minimums. Well, when this case got overturned, they said your Nexus can be anywhere. Okay. It's not just like where you have an office, it's wherever you're selling to. And that's when things got really screwed up. Those of you who don't know, I was part of the eBay small business ambassador team, and I worked to try and put a stop to this. I was not happy with this happening. And I made the phone calls to Congress, and I encouraged our representatives to say, no, don't do this. You're hurting small business. And that's really who it affected the most. So moving forward, regardless of where you're physically located, yada, 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 we just covered that. So let's take a look at this next slide. This one right here, this is covering setting up your tax table. I didn't do a whole lot of research on tax tables because it's another thing. You're going to want to talk with your CPA about it. Again, nothing said during this portion of the show is meant to be construed as tax advice. Always consult a tax professional for guidance. You can specify a sales tax rate for each U.S. state in which you are required to charge sales tax. So you, the individual seller, will need to set up a tax table to determine how much tax you wish to charge per state that you are selling to. Okay. You can also charge tax on shipping and handling if it's required by law. Is it required by law? I don't know if it's required by law. You're going to need to figure this out. I can figure this out for us if we need to. I don't know how much further we're going to be going into taxes though, but if you need help, okay, we can set up a special group to make this happen. Please subscribe to the show. We will have a tax expert, not just somebody who knows taxes, okay? A tax expert in the realm of e-commerce tax law coming on the show within a couple of weeks' time, okay? And hold me to that too. We're doing everything to make it happen. They're on a little break right now, but they'll be coming back here soon, okay? Buyers will see your tax rate on the listing page. Once they confirm that their shipping address at checkout, they will automatically get that taken care of. I do want to point out something too. Do not, under any circumstances, change your address, okay, to attempt to circumvent tax laws. Okay, it's important that you don't do that. I know some people have already chatted about doing that. You will go to jail. Do not do that. It is not a bright idea. And another, oh man, just be careful, guys. Mindy says this is nuts. Yeah, it's a little heavy, and I apologize. The unique reseller says, will the tax percentage per state be automated via eBay, or do we have to set it up ourselves in the new seller hub? As of today, as of right now, you are responsible for collecting and emitting taxes from people that you are selling to in states that require taxes to be collected on those sales. As of right now. So if there is a state, and I can't go into detail just because of my position, if there is a state that requires taxes to be paid, you are now supposed to be collecting taxes on that state. It's a little kick in the hoo-ha, isn't it? So definitely talk with the CPA. We will have a specialist on. I will make as many calls as I need to. If you know another company that you would like somebody to come on and talk with us as well, I will do everything in our power to make that happen. I want you guys to know, like I said, I understand. I do work with Prairie Grit. They're more than just a channel sponsor, okay? The whole point of this channel is to make sure that information like this gets into the hands of sellers. Who else is talking about this? And again, it's not to gloat for myself. It's important that intelligence and people who care about these things come together and make these things happen. So thank you again to everyone who's taken the time to watch this, to the people who I know are sharing this. There's a handful of you out there who are taking this information and giving it to other people. Thank you so much for this. I was doing this for 2 years before I made a check, and it's all about making sure the sellers are taken care of, because, the future isn't just about me. It's about everyone's ability to continue making money online. Okay. This market, I remember, just 3 years ago, I'd spend my entire show like just showing off items and just talking with people. And now we're tearing deep into news and deep into policy changes. It's just the market's changed, and we just got to stay with it. Important things to keep in mind when setting up a tax table. When you list your item, you need to indicate that you charge a sales tax in the listing form and associate your tax table with the listing. Changes that you make to your tax table won't be reflected in your live listings. Changes that you make to your tax table won't be reflected in your live listings. You will need to revise any current listings in order for your tax table changes to apply to those listings. Listings created after you have saved your tax table changes will reflect your tax table updates. What does that mean? It means if you change one field in your tax table, you need to, what they call refresh, you need to go through and revise all of your listings on eBay after you make a change to your tax table, or your listings will not reflect the correct tax rate. And if your tax rate is too low, you will be liable for the difference. And if your tax rate is too high, you might get a call from the government asking why you were charging so much for sales tax. Once you've created your tax table, you need to specify in your listings that you are charging sales tax. Here is how. On the listing form, check the box beside charge sales tax according to the sales tax table. You can open and make changes to your tax table by selecting View Sales Tax Table, and you complete your listing by select Preview Listing and save and continue later. Just so you guys know, 100% of these slides are going to be available after the show is over. If you need them, please visit our Facebook page. And I hate to keep plugging it, but I can't just hand it out on YouTube. Visit our Facebook page. I will make sure that all of these slides are available. If you would like to use them in a presentation on a YouTube channel, you are welcome to, but I ask you invite me along. You have me on your channel, and we can share this information together with your Facebook group or your YouTube channel. It's all about the spread of the positive and helpful information. Taxes and what you need to know. Number 3, charging and paying income taxes. Charging sales tax on eBay sales. If you are required to charge sales tax, you can set up your tax table and apply it to your listings. We'll then add the tax to the buyer's total at checkout. You're responsible for paying the sales tax to the appropriate authority. Again, contact a professional to determine whether you need to change your sales tax on your eBay sales or if you have questions about any other taxes. eBay's official stance. eBay's stance, you're seeing it here. We can't provide tax advice. We can't provide tax advice or guarantee that our sales tax features meet all tax requirements. Holy cow, guys. Why is no one talking about this? We can't provide tax advice or guarantee that our sales tax features meet all tax requirements. I can guarantee you mine don't. I can guarantee you yours don't. Paying income tax on eBay sales. By law, sellers have to declare and pay taxes on income earned from eBay sales. We recommend checking with a tax advisor to understand your responsibilities. Stone's Throw says, think I'm getting a job, LOL. Nah, it's not that time yet. Nah. It's only smoldering right now. The whole house isn't on fire yet. Minikoi says, this is a no-win. People are selling used. Just leave. This is just crazy. Screw the sellers. And yeah, it's a very, very scary time to be a used seller. And here's the thing too. This is kind of across the board. Okay. Now there are obviously alternative sites, wink, wink. But at some point you will need to, at a minimum, make good faith efforts to try and collect the correct taxes. Okay. Now, there are going to be more companies coming out of the woodworks to try and resolve this problem. I'm not going to say that everything's hitting the fan now. It's the end of the world as we know it for e-commerce sellers. What I am saying is that this year, 2019, is going to be one of the most impactful years for e-commerce that we've seen in the last decade. I guarantee you that. This year is going to set the precedent for the next probably 20 or 30 years of sales online. This is a massive change, and I warned everyone about this. I talked about this months ago, and I said, guys, and nobody watched it too. And when I talked about the South Dakota versus Wayfair, I get it. It's super boring. And I said, guys, things are changing. You guys have to get plugged into this. The market is making some shifts. You have to call people. You have to tell people you want this to stop. Well, here we are now. Is there still room? Is there still potential that this could get overturned or that it could be challenged, that we could see a reversal of action? Yeah, sure. There's still a chance. If you want to see something happen, Call your Congress member. Call the people in freaking South Dakota. Give them hell. Call eBay, the Small Business Ambassador Network. Go visit the Small Business Ambassador Network website on eBay and tell them you'd like to be an ambassador for the brand and you'd like to push, you'd like to fight the good fight to try and put an end to internet sales tax. But we talked about this for a long time, but we'll see what happened. Donna Cherry says, way too complicated. I only make $200 to $300 a month in sales. Goodbye, eBay. Ridiculous. Yeah. So very, very small time sellers, and I got into a discussion, an argument almost with a small time seller the other day. And she was telling me that, that she felt certain platforms, no names given, were not catered towards small sellers. And, I tried to inform her that, every platform can work with small sellers, but now when you're starting to see changes like this, it is definitely putting things into a different type of light. It's Natural comments. Do you know about other platforms when it comes to taxes? When it comes to this, I will be doing a compendium episode, and I want you guys to know that normally we cover all kinds of different e-commerce news. We have a really, really fun time, but this is a very special episode where every time this happens, every time there's an update, I do this crazy deep dive into the update so we can, like I said, disseminate falsehoods that are spreading on the internet. If you would like, next week, I will spend all the time this week researching, and I will come back to you with the tax information that I know for sites like Amazon, Mercari, Bonanza, what's the other one? Ruby Lane, and I'll get Prairie Grit's official stance on taxes as well by next week. So if you like that information, I can get that put together for you by next week. Just do me a solid, subscribe to the channel. It definitely helps us out. Wrong button again. I really got to get that fixed up. That's my hold screen button. We've never even had to use that, but it's there. I made a lot of changes to the show from last week. If you guys are a return viewer of the show, hopefully you notice that the audio quality sounds a little bit different. Our intro sounded different. Our outro is going to sound different. But yeah. So, and then the other thing, we already talked about this earlier, was informing people internationally about your sales. Unique Real Seller says that would be a good comparison. I will gather the information. It might not be next week. It may be the week after next, because boy, oh boy, do I need a chill episode. And I can't stress this enough. This took 20 hours to put together, okay? If you guys are appreciating what I'm doing, okay, there is a few ways to help. You can visit Jay's Game Shack at Game Shack at yahoo.com. You can send any PayPal donations to there. We greatly appreciate it. We can't do super chats yet, but hopefully by next week we can. And if you'd like to help out the show, Pam will place up a link for our Patreon. If you guys don't know about our Patreon program, it's a fantastic program where for as little as 50 cents a day, you can help support this channel and keep it on the air. If you are willing to spend $1 a day, you're going to get these really beautiful custom. And here's the thing, I can make them say anything. They don't have to say eBay. We can put your logo there. We can put Amazon. We can put whatever you want there, but it'll say your URL. It'll say your seller name. It's cheap. And you get 24-hour group chat where you can talk with other resellers around the clock about, I don't know, selling issues, how the family's doing. It's a really good community in there. We'd love to have you if you want to come join us. Visit patreon.com/Bolorama if you'd like to support the show. Helps us out a ton. Allows me to continue doing these things. So let's move on to the next one. Holy cow, guys, we made it through the thick of it. No more tax discussion tonight. Yay! Big round of applause. Let's all hit that like button. That'd be fantastic. So where are we at right now? We're going to be taking a look at some changes to fixed priced listings. Now, this is one of the biggest things that I've heard about over the last week. Oh my God, I can't run 7-day listings anymore. Oh my God, I can't run 10-day listings anymore. It's the end of the world as we know it. I wonder if eBay did that just to distract everyone from the whole tax situation, because no one's talking about taxes and everyone's talking about listing durations. But I'm 100% in favor of this. Over 80% of listings that are buy it now listings are good till canceled listings. Or 80% of the sales are good till canceled listings when it comes to buy it now. So this is a fantastic change. I think this is very welcome. Now, those of you who say, oh, I want to end my listings and run them again, I want to be able to be in more control of my store, go for it. If you want to, go for it. If you want to run a listing for 10 days and then you want to delist that listing and then you want to run it again, you want to pay for it a second time, go ahead. Now, I understand the frustration with people who are concerned regarding the fee increase of running a good till cancel listings. We're going to talk about fees here in just a bit, but Trust me when I say this, I've been using eBay for 10 plus years. 100% of my listings have been good till canceled. I've had years where I've made over $100,000 on good till canceled listings. Now, if you're one of those people who says, Jay, you're an idiot, I do it my way and it works great for me, I'm not going to knock you. You're here for a reason. You're a seller for a reason. It's working for you. I can understand your frustration with a format that's potentially gone right now, okay? But for me, and for most of the people that I work with, and for 100% of the people that I train, this is a fantastic change. It's there's a bunch of perks to it as well. But like I said, currently over 80% of listings on eBay are buy it now, and of that, 80% are good till canceled. Okay. Later in the week, video on how and why. Oh yeah, so we are going to be doing a special video later this week where we're going to be talking about what I call standard pricing model, and we're going to be talking about the correct way to run a listing online to increase its visibility and increase its sell-through. This is going to be a special video produced exclusively for Prairie Grit. Now, if you're not a Prairie Grit seller, you're still going to be able to view the content. It's going to be on this channel, okay? But if you haven't heard about him yet, and here it comes, this 30-second ad read, guys. We want to thank our sponsors, prairiegrit.com. They're a fantastic brand new selling site where you can import all of your items straight across from eBay if you'd like to sell them. Some of the big advantages, there's no final value fees, guys. And we have a big saying over there, it's your business, your way. If you don't want to accept returns, don't accept them. If you want to sell some stuff that you can't sell on eBay, go ahead and sell it. We have people who are selling CBD oil over there even. It's a fantastic selling site. And if you use the link over there, prairiegrit.com/free month, you're going to get 1 free month. And they're doing a heck of a promo right now, guys. If you go visit their Facebook page, they have we have a new contest thing going on. All you have to do is tell them, I heard about you through the Sunday Reseller Roundup, and leave a comment on that post. You're going to get entered in to win a $10 item. You can go shopping on Prairie Grit. You buy something for $10, buy it for more than $10, and they'll go ahead and send you $10 back on that purchase. They're going to select 10 winners by noon. And I went and looked at the post. There's not many people on there right now. Okay, so you have a good chance of winning. They're doing the drawing tomorrow at noon. I don't even think 10 people have left comments yet. Facebook.com/Prairie Grit. Go check it out. It's fantastic. So, full circle, guys. Back around again. Okay, so addition, they're also adding out of stock, which I think is fantastic. How many of you guys? Let me ask this, and I'm gonna back up here a second again. How many people have you heard anyone talk about the out of stock feature, or have you heard about it yourself? Have you read about it? Let me know in the comments right now. I want to talk a little bit more about why I feel the change to the good till canceled and the reasoning why eBay said what their reasons for behind it were. They said that one of the big ones was to increase SEO. They said that the search engine optimization, that it works better not only on-site and off-site with 30-day good till canceled listings. They said that more people are able to find the items get a higher rank, which means a higher sell-through. So that SEO is key. On top of that, one of the things that I train and I preach all the time is when you end a listing, there goes all your watchers. They just walk right out the door. They're gone. So by keeping a listing active, you retain 100% of your watchers and you retain 100% of the people who bookmark the listing. While I'm at it, I'd like to give a big thank you to Mindy Coy for sending 2 of these in to me. You're a wonderful person. Mindy Coy is my bonus mom. She's always looking out for me, making sure that I'm okay. And she'll fight anyone who tries to start trouble with me. She will come after you. So one of the things is that, like I said, it's going to retain watchers and anyone who's privately bookmarked the link. When you end a listing and then you relist it, that's gone. They're not going to be able to find it again without having to go out of their way. And there's a good chance that some buyers just simply can't find it. Another reason that they gave is that they're looking to ease the workflow for sellers. They're saying that if you just have it good till canceled, you're not going to have to come back to it later and fiddle with it. And I also want to talk about what's going to happen to your listings right now. So if you have 7-day, 10-day, 15-day, whatever, if you have a 30-day that's got 20 days left on it, so you understand what's going to happen is your listing is going to run its duration unless your item sells, okay? If you delist your item, or if eBay delists your item, maybe for a policy violation, your listing is going to run its entire course. Now, when it ends, if you go to renew it and you decide to run it as good till cancel, it will automatically, or if you decide to run it again, it will automatically get set for good till canceled. You will not be able to select any other option. If you're using a third-party listing software, you will not be able to select a different duration. If you attempt to, it will block the listing. So you must use good till canceled to be able to run buy it now listings. Let me take a look at some of these comments. Nice cup. Yeah, it's a beautiful cup. Pam Bianco says winners will be picked soon. Definitely go check that out. Yes, those are nice cups, but you're my... Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so now out of stock. Have you guys used out of stock? The Thrifting Goomba says, I don't know about the out of stock feature. I don't blame you. You should, though. It's fantastic, okay? Out of stock here, and what I'm going to do, too, is because my window is a little bit tiny, I'm going to make myself a little bit bigger here. There we go. Maybe even bump. There we go, just like that. So the out of stock feature, what does it mean? What it does is it allows you to retain a listing when it gets to zero quantity. So let's say I have, these beautiful flyers and I'm selling sets of 500. It's something that I'm constantly running through, constantly selling. And then I realize, man, I've got 200 of these things sold. It looks so good, but it's going to run out of quantity before I get more of them in. But I don't want to add more quantity of an item I don't have. Well, the out of stock feature is going to allow you to keep that listing live on the back end, but not show it to the customer. So the benefit of that is that with out of stock selected, is that once your item comes back in stock, and let's say you have a case come a month later, you can add the quantity back to your listing. That listing is going to become live, and it's still going to reflect the number of sold listings. And anyone who is watching that item is still going to be able to review that item when it becomes live again. This is a huge benefit to sellers, especially people who are selling massive quantities of goods. Anyone who's doing, in-house wholesaling, or they're working with manufacturers, or if they're privately manufacturing, or they're privately creating an item. Let's say you're somebody who's doing handmade goods, blankets and quilts, stuffed animals. You're making private label, essentially, goods. And you decide, I want to take like 2 weeks off of making this. I'm just not in the mood to make it. You can make it out of stock, leave it there, and then you can come back to it later when you want to make it visible again. It is a fantastic feature to add to the site. It's something that, frankly, should have been added a long time ago. And the other thing, too, is that if you're running a multi-quantity or variation style listing, you'll be able to put those out of stock as well. Now, here's the thing. Now, this is one of the big questions. Will I be charged for having this listing when it's out of stock if nobody's able to see it? And the answer is no, as long as it goes a full 30 days without being seen. You will be charged on the front end, and you can get a credit back on the back end, and the credit should be processed automatically. But with things regarding refunds, you may want to double check, because eBay has a bad history of not giving us our money back. So definitely go through and double check that. But you won't be charged. But here's the kicker. This is the important thing to understand. And again, I don't know what eBay is thinking. Okay, how long can I have an item out of stock for? What would the right answer be? Okay, a perfect world would say as long as I want, until if I want to have it out of stock forever, I should be able to. Okay, what's the second best scenario? A year? No, eBay is going to give you 90 days to keep that out of stock, and that's it. And you know what happens after 90 days? Out of here. No, we don't want that anymore. They knock the listing out. You can go ahead and relist the listing, but you're going to lose all of that sales history as well. Why, eBay? Why are you doing this? It makes no sense at all. So 90 days from now, I expect to see that change by the fall update. I can see enough people griping about that, people who use the functionality without understanding that it's only good for 90 days. And then when they learn about it later, I can see there's being a bit of outcry. So I'm making a future prediction right now. Fall update, I can expect some changes to that happening as well. So, and we talked about the transition, reasoning for this change, the pros and cons. I think we kind of covered it. More for the SEO end of things, more for retaining the history, being able to continue to stay in touch with clients and customers when items come back into stock. Let's take a look at our next one, the hidden and unspoken changes. These are all the things that no one else is talking about that needs to be talked about right now, because it's important. It's very important, and it's not on the surface, and I don't think it's on the surface for a good reason. Guys, this is the second to last slide. thank you so much to all of you who stuck around. How many people do we have watching right now? Is anyone keeping track of this? I'm sure as heck not. I know at one point, we had 52 people watching. We got 41. Hey, 41 of you made it this far, and 11 of you thought that this was too dang hard, or they just quit. 11 people quit eBay tonight, guys. That is a little bit crazy, but I get 12 of you quit eBay. So we're down to 40 people. So the 40 people who made it this far, you're going to be learning some brand new things right now. New categories, guys, or new changes to existing categories. So this is going to affect you. And this is, again, pen and paper on hand, guys. If you are selling in electronics, home and garden, health and beauty, and musical equipment, if you have any listings within those categories, okay, and your listings are now currently marked as new other, okay, any of those new others in electronics, home and garden, health and beauty, and musical equipment, all of those listings will be changed to open box. Okay, open box means what? It means that the item is in excellent like new condition with no wear, missing the box, wrapping, missing seal, could be a factory second, but must include the item's original accessories. Okay, these listings are changing automatically. Whether you want them to or not, they are going to change, and you are responsible for looking at your listings to make sure that they still qualify. Okay, if your listings don't have the things that I mentioned, okay, your listing is missing some of the original accessories or anything to that effect, you have to go check your listings personally, okay, because this change is happening on its own. Okay, so new other, any category or any stuff that you have that's new other will be changing to open box. We have another one that's happening. If you have anything in business industrial, and I know this is a smaller subsect of you, okay? Business industrial, the new other category is being changed to used like new. Used like new means item is in excellent condition with no functional defects, maybe a test or demo unit, maybe missing packaging, does not have to have accessories or warranties, but may have imperfections, but they must be noted. Guys, these changes are also happening automatically. You have to go check your listings. If you don't, and they change, and the customer isn't happy, you get stuck with the return, and you're going to have to pay for it. You will be responsible for these listings. Why? Because you're an eBay seller. You've agreed to the terms of services, and these were publicly announced to you during the seller update. Capiche? Capiche. Okay, so be mindful of these changes. Okay, no one's talking about them. Be mindful of them. Next one, Terapeak is being added to the platform. Terapeak is an insight tool that's going to be available for anyone who has a basic store or better. The supply and demand pricing data to help sellers find prices. Those who have already paid for it will be able to get a prorated refund through March 5th, 2019, or on March 5th, 2019. So if you had Terapeak already, you paid your money, you can get money back on your subscription, especially if you paid out for the year. I know some of my patrons are affected by that. If you need information on that, Tim, I'm talking to you. Reach out to me and let me know. I will see to it that you get your refund for that. Terapeak is a fantastic tool, and I talked about this I talked about this publicly on the group, and I said this is something that should be given out to sellers. Why they're not giving it out for free is just a little bit beyond me, but they went ahead and made the right call. They went ahead and made it for free. Originally, it was going to be $17.99, I believe. So now that it's free for everyone that has a basic or better store, I am very, very pleased. This tool is fantastic. Just make sure that you use it correctly. If you would like a training video on how Terapeak is intended to be used, we'll make that happen for you. Just let me know in the comments and we'll make it happen for all of you. What else do we have? The next thing, product-based changes or product-based shopping changes. Product-based shopping, which was heavily pushed in 2018, is now being dialed back quite a bit to the point where eBay is now only asking that we focus on item specifics. This due in part to low-level adoption to this change. We expect this to just be the start as they make another push for it down the line, that or they are just finally realizing it is the sellers with the power and that they are asking us to build a catalog for them for free that they should be building themselves internally. Why can't eBay build their own catalog? It's because they're too lazy. All the information is right there on the site. We've uploaded and provided it for them. They've already made it public news some of you guys probably don't know this either, that they have the right to steal our photos and use them for the catalog. So if you're a brand who has, I don't know, let's say 5,000 different SKUs that you work with, and you take these really, really crisp photos. Let's say you're an official brand. Let's say you're Disney, for instance, and you have products on the site and you take these really, really crisp photos. It's part of eBay's terms of service. They can actually take that photo and add it to their catalog. They've been doing it for well over a year now, and they can allow everyone else to use this. They have the means to gather this catalog, but they expected us to make it for free. I kind of get why people are a little bit fed up and they're not wanting to adopt it. And because they haven't adopted, they're stepping back on it. Now, they're still expecting item specifics. Why? I don't know, but they're not requiring that every single one have to fall within a catalog style listing, which is what they were pushing for before. So if you had an electronic device, if you had a specific cell phone, it had to fall into a product catalog, where they were saying it was going to get suppressed or delisted, and they very quickly dialed back on that. Pat Sand says, I'm present and accounted for. You are only 1 hour and 28 minutes late to the party, my friend. This entire episode will be available for replay after, and you can go back anytime and watch it. And Aaron says, I want back royalties for my photos, and they will tell you no. That's part of it. You guys want to play on the eBay turf, you got to play by their rules. Prairie Grit, the one and only, leaving a comment, assuming they are dropping after 90 days due to the storage bandwidth and SEO. Not good to have products online that don't convert, and if you have a lot of them on the site, it will drag down site authority. So basically what Sean is saying is that eBay has been having this issue for a long time, because they have something like 1.6 billion with a B, which stands for big bucks, billion, listings on the site. And because of that, the fact that these listings aren't selling through, when you go to Google Shopping and you type in an item you're looking for, unless you're hyper specific, eBay doesn't index very well. So what do I mean by that? I mean, if you type in mermaid pen, okay, into Google Shopping, not much is going to show up as far as eBay. And I'm almost positive right now nothing will show up that's an eBay link. You're going to see your big players, your Amazon, your Walmart, your Targets, that's what you're going to see. But if you put in Little Mermaid, Park exclusive, shaped Ariel pen, green handle, or you go hyper specific, those types of listings are going to index better. But because eBay has so many listings that are, let's be honest, stagnant listings, they're not selling. I mean, did anyone sell anything today? I mean, my sales have been, I try not to go into my stuff too often. They've been in the tanker, okay? When we look at these stagnant listings, it drives down eBay's rank further and further and further into the search. So a lot of this stuff is an attempt to try and increase their ranking within Google search. And then again, also optimize the search experience for consumers. So what am I talking about with that? We're talking about things that may have model numbers on them. I'm so happy I have so many reference items on hand. So this is a Canon adapter power supply, and because this is a branded OEM thing, it has the model number on it. And if I want to search that specific model number within eBay and the catalog exists and it exists correctly, even if I find the camera would be associated with this power supply, and in turn I'd be able to find it. With the absence of a valid catalog or the absence of ranking within Google Shopping and placement there, I am going to have a harder time finding this item, which means I'm less likely to buy the item. Pat Sand says, I just want to talk about Prairie Grit. All of my inventory is oddball stuff that nobody else has. Yeah, we'll definitely take time to talk about that here in a few minutes. We have one more slide to go. And KeyWebCo, Roger Kieserling, says they are losing listings by design. Yeah, things are a little bit off. Pat Sands, have we talked before? Have you joined the Prairie Grit ecosystem? I'd love to know who you are if we have had communications in the past. Give me 1 second really quick, guys. We are going to be moving on to the last part here. We're going to be talking about looking into the next update, and I scoured very, very hard to make sure that I was able to get some great information regarding the next update. And like I said, I dug through a lot of stuff to be able to get this info for you. Hold on 1 second, guys. I got to send out a message really, really quick. And you, sorry about that, guys. Okay. So there's 3 things that I was able to learn about the next update, and we're looking at this update that's going to be coming out. They're saying end of April. I'm going to tell you right now, it's probably going to be a little bit closer to middle, maybe even beginning of April, just based on the reasoning as to why they're pushing these updates out in the timing that they are. Like I said, they're getting a lot of pressure from Elliott Management. They also had another hedge fund company that was able to get a seat on the board as well. They're kind of in crisis control right now. They've let two head decision makers there. I think we had like head of American sales and someone else, Scott, and I can't remember the other guy's name, but they released these two guys from the company, and they're just trying to restructure everything that's going on. So part of these changes about getting them pushed out early, one part is that they don't want to overwhelm sellers right now. They don't want to give people too much stuff. And when did we see this happen before? We saw this when they slipped in the change to integrated payments, when we talked about Audient. That's what's going to be on the next one. That's going to be one of the key issues on the next update is integrated payments. I have it on good authority, okay, that the rates for integrated payment sellers are going back up. So right now, integrated sellers are receiving a discounted rate for their processing fees. So when they charge a seller and they run their payment through, if you're doing it on PayPal, you're looking at 2.9% plus you're looking at 30 cents on top. Okay. With the integrated payments, I believe they're paying about 1.5%. Conjecture time, guys, is that we're looking at an increase to about 2.5%. And the even scarier rumor is that we could be seeing it going up to a full 2.9% by the time April rolls around. Okay, because like I said, 2019 is the last year for PayPal on eBay as far as being able to use it as your integrated merchant. Now, you can use a business merchant type setup to try and create a workaround, but eBay and PayPal are doing their full separation by 2020. So this is the last year for them. And if you're hearing this for the first time, like I said, lots of things are changing, lots of things are happening. So one of the big things we're going to be seeing that change to integrated payments, and a lot of talk about that and a lot of prep to get people ready for that. And that's why a lot of these changes were pushed up early, is so that way they're not overloading people on the back end. Beyond that, we're also going to be looking at the product-based shopping experience. They have mentioned that they are trying to make this work still, even though they're not using the product catalog per se. They're saying that they're going to be working to make sure that the product-based shopping experience is something that's going to work for consumers. So that way, if I'm looking for this specific type of charger, or even the camera that goes to this charger, that I'm going to have an easier time finding it. Because as of right now, and I put this challenge out when I was on a show the other day, I said, find me a PlayStation 3 controller that is authentic on eBay right now, and I will give you $50. And you're not going to, because when you type in PlayStation 3 remote, last time I checked it, you got 14,000 results. I'm even going to check right now. I'm going to see, because I'm curious, and I've talked about this before, is just about how clunky the site, God, I'm spinning over here, how clunky the site is when it comes to trying to find stuff. I just want to search something on eBay. Here we go. PlayStation 3 remote. I should probably put controller. That'd probably be a better search. So as of right now, we are getting 4,279 results. The first result says official genuine OEM Sony PlayStation 3 PS3 wireless DualShock 3 controller color. And that is a keyword stuffing if I've ever seen it in my life. And I am seeing a 292 counterfeit controllers having been sold. These are not authentic controllers, and these are exceptionally fake. Every single one of them. I can tell by the packaging. And if you're wondering how I know, I owned a game store for 5 years. And this is part of the problem right here, is that we're not being shown the things that we're actually looking for, even when we want to buy them, even when we want to pay the asking price. And I talked with them about this, and I ended up getting banned by the eBay for Business after pressing the matter. I've got to make another account to be able to speak with them again. And I have the screenshots to show that too. Prairie Grit says, @Pat, that's what I want to talk about too. Okay, so we're going to get to that. I got, what do I have? One more thing. The last thing that they wanted to talk about is in the next ones, they're going to be talking about the future of eBay, which is a very, very large overarching topic. But, things are going to be shuffling. They're going to have much more clear direction and vision as to what's going to be happening in the future. It's going to be very, very interesting to see exactly what their mindset is 3 to 4 months from now, because I can tell you it's going to be a little bit of a wild ride. But yeah, the future of eBay and what they're looking to get accomplished and what it means to sellers, as well as the integrated payments, and as well as the product-based shopping experiences, and then obviously following up on these types of things. So what I did for you guys right now, because I felt it was important that I talk about this too, people don't seem to understand fees, and this isn't like a thing that I did for Prairie Grit. This is something that I felt important to get out there while we're on the topic of training and education. People don't understand fees, and people don't seem to understand the implications of an increase in first class shipping and what that's actually doing for sellers. No one's really talking about it. So I made one more slide for you guys. I think I made one more slide for you guys. Give me 1 second. I got to click. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. There we go. So this is my understanding fees chart for 2019. Oh, wrong button again. Sorry, guys. So yeah, this is the understanding fees for 2019. And I felt it important that you guys see this. There's, like I said, I'm sorry, I'm trying to fix my windows. I got 3 things going on at once. I got to be able to see your guys' comments. So I went ahead and put this chart together that shows what happens when you sell an item on eBay for $9.99. Now, obviously, fee structures are going to change platform by platform. If you're an Amazon seller, your fees are actually going to be higher. So it's important that you understand this. So if you're selling an item on eBay for $9.99 and it weighs 3 ounces versus 15 ounces, okay, and we're looking at best case scenario versus worst case scenario. So what is best case scenario? It weighs 3 ounces and it's going within zone 1 or 2, which is basically within a couple hundred miles of you, and worst case scenario is 15 ounces and it's going coast to coast. Okay, so in this 3 ounce scenario, your final value fees on either one are going to be $1.39. Your PayPal fees are going to be 3% plus 30 cents, which equals 60 cents. Your insertion fee on average is going to be a quarter. Some of you it's going to be higher, some of you it's going to be lower. And your final cost before shipping supplies and before paying for the item on a 3 ounce scenario, you will make $4.87 if the item is free and the shipping supplies are free. And then on a 15 ounce item, you are going to make $2.22. So be mindful of your fees. I can't stress this enough. If you paid $2 for an item and you sold it on eBay and it's 15 ounces and it's going coast to coast, after your taxes, you made less than 20 cents. Okay. So when we talk about your time efficiency, my original price when I first started doing this was I will sell any item that I could sell for $12 that cost me less than $1 to buy, because shipping costs were flat and they were like first class rates and stuff like that. And then as the fees went up, I am currently at a position right now where I will not purchase an item if I don't believe I can make at least $17 on it. And if I can buy that item for at least, or for no more than $1, maybe $2, and a maximum of $3 if I'm buying it at quantity, because it's going to be easier for me and I can just do one listing opposed to multiple listings. So really let that sink in, really look at that chart, okay? We got some more comments coming in. I'm sorry, guys. Again, I'm shuffling windows here. Matthew Easton says you really don't have to be accurate when searching on eBay. If you miss a space or a letter or whatnot you're searching for will not come up. Yep, you have to be... he says you really do have to be accurate. Thank you. Sorry for that. But yeah, the search engine is a little bit busted, especially when it comes to numbers and symbols. There's really issues with that. And even on mobile, when you're attempting to search something that is close to the word, or it's close to another more popular item, maybe 1 to 2 letters are off, and you're attempting to find completed listings, it will always correct it back to the one it's closest to and not even display completed for that unless you get to a PC. So that is very frustrating. Those of you who just tuned in right now, this entire show has been dedicated to learning about the spring seller update. The entire show is available for replay. I noticed about half a dozen of you just jumped in. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. We are just a handful of subscribers away from being able to reach that coveted 1,000 mark. Pat says, I don't have very many $17 or less listings. And then I was also asked to talk about Prairie Grit, again, our show sponsors for this week. If you haven't seen it yet, right now they have a promotion going on where $100 is being given away. 10 lucky shoppers will get $10 back on any Prairie Grit purchase over the next 24 hours. The drawing will occur at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on March 4th, which is tomorrow. Like our page and tell us how you heard about this promotion to be entered in. You mentioned my channel name, Bolorama, so that way they know that you got sent from here. It's definitely going to help us out. And again, look at these wonderful people. I want to give another special thank you to Pam, Callie, Matthew, Pamela, Ashley, Anna, and Joe for being our top patrons. And a wonderful thank you to everyone else and our newest patron, Joel and Jason, as well. If you'd like to learn more about our Patreon program and how you can support this show and get some fantastic perks for yourself, patreon.com/Bolorama. So, guys, we churned through that I am now open for all of your questions regarding the seller update, but don't go yet. Don't go yet. I promise you. We got about 20, maybe 30 minutes left. I'm going to show you every single item I bought this week. So if you want to just kind of relax, have a good time, I can even play the music again if you guys want to hear that. Really, here, we'll play that chill intro music one more time for you guys, and we can relax a little bit, okay? Because that was very stressful. I don't know if you guys went through that entire seller update. 20 hours it took to put that together. And again, guys, if you'd like to help support the show, and maybe you say, Jay, I don't want to be a patron. It's just not for me, but I still want to help you out. I appreciate what you're doing. You can send a one-time PayPal donation to jaysgameshack@yahoo.com. And here's the thing, guys, if you don't want to spend any money, I totally respect and understand that too. Like, subscribe, and tell somebody about this show, and you are going to help me out more than you realize. So what we're going to do right now, guys, is we're going to take a look at the items that I picked up over the last week. As I said, I went out of town specifically to avoid the rain. We got rained out here in Bakersfield again. Those of you who are keeping track, that is 5 weekends in a row. And those of you who don't know this, it is actually scientifically proven it is our fault it rains more often on the weekends. Yeah, because it's not just an anomaly, and they realized it was a pattern, and because we decided what weeks look like, they were able to reverse everything around and figure out that we are causing it to rain more on weekends. So I guess, in theory, it's my own fault that I have trouble going out to the swap meet. So I decided, hey, I'm going to go out of town on Thursday. I'm going to go and stay in Fresno Thursday to Friday. I stayed at Chancey Casino, won a couple $100. Some of you guys saw the video that I posted on the back end. If you didn't, let me know. A nice little hand pay. But they give me a free hotel room. I get a free buffet, and I get to spend time with friends. I did some rock climbing, some disc golfing, and I did some sourcing at the wonderful Sunnyside Swap Meet. Now, if you are in the Central Valley and you haven't checked out the Sunnyside Swap Meet yet, I strongly recommend it. Some of the nicest vendors around. I'm talking about you, Joe. I'm talking about you, Blaine. Really nice people. And the weather was fantastic. 70 degrees. I had a blast of a time. Did I get a ton of stuff? Yeah. But did I get some cool things? Yes. So we're going to take a peek at the items that I got. And I haven't priced a lot of these out. I haven't inspected them. I threw them in the car, immediately rushed home and started working again. The first item that I got, this is something that I've played before. And just so you guys know, patrons only, if you're interested in these items, I will sell them to you at cost just for supporting the show. I'll let you know what I paid for them. You just add the shipping on. I will mail it out to you. The only caveat is you must keep it. No buying my items and then flipping them online. I will check. But if you like them, you get them for cost. So I picked up this King of Tokyo board game. This one actually has the expansion in there. Last time I checked, King of Tokyo was about a $40 game. Now whenever you see games, you always want to take the time to stop and check them. If you have an opportunity to open them up, and I'm barcode scanning real quick. If you have an opportunity to open them up and inspect the pieces, by all means, go for it. But if you can get a killer price on it, then go ahead and do. Oh yeah, this is a great one. $49.89 in collectible condition, which means probably gonna be about $35. It is restricted on Amazon. It's probably because of the brand What's Games. Oh, sorry about that. But I opened it up. It looks pretty good, and I paid $3 for this bad boy. It doesn't weigh that much either. Worst case scenario is going to go out medium flat rate. Pat Sands, I might have to sell a single thing. I have yet to sell a single. It takes time, Pat. It depends on how many items you got on the platform. I had my, I think my second sale the other day. It took just about a week, but I only have about 100 listings on Prairie Grit. And to be completely honest, I had sold and liquidated my eBay store. I had about 1,200 listings, and I brought it down to 200 listings in the course of 3 months on eBay. I brought things down as far as 50%. Now all I have left is just pretty much the leftover stuff, and I brought it across there, and I'm kind of happy to have it there because it's getting more eyes on it. So the more eyes you can get on your items, the more views you can get on them, the better that things are going to be going for you. So you want to make sure you take a look at how many you got on there. And if you haven't seen the welcome video yet, there's a video on Facebook that has 5 really good tips to be able to increase your sell-through on Prairie Grit. And you can just visit, like I said, facebook.com/Prairie Grit, and you're going to be able to see those as well. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that delay, guys. So next up, we got this really, really cool Billabong Party Wave hat. I haven't looked this up either. I think I paid 50 cents for this bad boy, maybe even a quarter. But these vintage mesh trucker caps, especially from cool brands like, brands like Billabong, okay? Yeah, cool hats like this. I usually get anywhere between, I don't know, like 15 to maybe like $30 a piece on these. And when I say they cost nothing, 50 cents in, you ship them out for $2-3, well worth the pickup. I'm just going to run this bad boy through the wash. You always want to make sure you get these cleaned up before you get them put up onto eBay. Next one up is a keeper. Every now and then I find something that I want to keep for myself. These are really, really beautiful. What are these? These are King's Crown. Okay, clear, flat iced tea glasses. And I don't know why. They just really, really resonated with me. Pat said he had listed 700 items on there, but I kind of find that a little hard to believe because we've been looking at things on the back end, and the name doesn't sound familiar, but we'll look into that for sure. But yeah, I ended up picking up a set of 4 of these bad boys. It's really, really nice pickup, and she sold them all to me for $2, and I just wanted some really nice glasses, especially coming into the summer. If I wanted to sell them, I believe the set's worth between $30 and $40, but I do plan to keep these bad boys. And I always talk to people, too, about the value of some of these handheld electronic games. I've never seen this one before. Now, I've seen the New York Times produce the Sudoku, and I've seen them do the crossword ones. This is actually the game of Set. Okay, so this is a culmination between, it says Franklin at the bottom and New York Times. There is none of these available online right now. So this is the kind of item that I probably will shove onto Prairie Grit, because if none of them are available for sale, I might as well put them onto a platform where I'm not paying final value fees. I do plan to ask probably about $25 for this. The completed on this one shows about $20 to $24 for a brand new one, but because there is none available, if somebody wants it, it's basically pay the price that I'm asking or don't get the item at all. So that's where this bad boy is going. I didn't have a chance to test it out. Like I said, I just got back in town. Things have been a little busy as of late. This is a nice little pickup. I'm really happy about this. It's even in the plastic still, and odds are it's brand new. I picked up a LG, I believe this is either for a fan or a purifier. This is a original remote. Probably somebody else sold the other half of this. This remote, I believe, is going to sell for about $30 to $40. The fan that this belongs to is worth about $180. So it's a really, really nice one. And none of these are available online either. And here's a good thing too. If you guys don't know this, you can test remotes even if you don't have the device for them. Obviously get some new batteries into there, but you can use your cell phone's camera to be able to test the infrared light on the end to make sure a remote works. You can run through all the buttons and test it out that way too. I paid $250 for this remote. What else do we got? Okay, I got some items here that I'm not even too familiar with. I got them because they were giving them away. This is one of the ones that they were giving away. I know Mindy is going to jump all over this, or Pam, one of you guys is going to be like, oh my God, this is what this is. Mindy Coy says, love King's Crown. TR glasses make them. Indiana glass, aren't they? But they're beautiful glasses, aren't they? They're heavy and they feel like they're going to last, forever. I know other glasses, you barely bump them against something and they go ahead and destroy themselves. But I picked this really nice vase up. I don't know. It has a stamp on the bottom. Looks like it says, oh gosh, XML. I'm going to defer, or it could be 7XML or 7MX. I'm not too positive. They gave this away. They said it was free, and I said, why not? Whenever people are giving things away for free, I'm going to take them. So I'll leave that for you, for Mindy, for a second. And then I picked up these PlayStation Move controllers. These things are turning into hotcakes, and it's because of the VR revolution. People need these things to use for their PlayStation VR sets, and they're going for about $23, $24 right now, and they sell very, very quickly. They're easy to test. You can plug them into a standard USB micro cable, and just got to make sure that the lights work on them, and then from there, 99% of them are going to work just fine after that. Landshark says, XML, extensible markup language. 40x years old. Cool. I have no clue what the value is on it, but as I said, for free, I can't lose money on free. I can maybe lose time, which is technically money, but I can't lose money. Those PlayStation Move controllers, great deal on those. I believe I got the pair for about $7, $3.50 a pop. They do ship out first class as well, which is great. Have you guys seen these before? I've seen people talk about these before. These are iPod socks. How cute are those? Yeah, they're basically little sleeves for your iPod. And these packs are worth about $20 for these brand new, and I paid $3 for it. It looks to be an Amazon return. I can see the little label there on the back. It probably got kicked back after Amazon and Apple worked an exclusive deal together to try and stifle third-party sellers who are selling Apple goods. But yeah, I paid $3. Good money on these things. Cannot complain. But have you seen them before? I've never seen them before. And guys, like I said, we did finish up with that update, but if you have questions, don't be afraid to ask them. I know we just finished up, covering that for an hour and a half, but it's good stuff to know. I picked up some magnetic desk decorations, and I wasn't really thinking of the implications of putting giant magnets next to my desk. So I'm probably going to put these up on eBay, but they have ball bearings and magnetic bases. I got 3 of them for $2. I may just give them away as gifts. In hindsight, I don't even know why I got them. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take one of them. I'm going to put them back here. But I don't know if you're like me. Ever since I was a kid, I always had a fascination with magnets. I even have some high-power neodymium ones in the other room, and they're the kind that'll crush your fingers if you're not careful. So I just picked them up anyways. I got some shoes. Guys, you know I don't deal with shoes often, but the scenario just turned out to be perfect for me. Again, we were getting ready to leave the swap meet. It was me and my friend Susan. Susan is my other IRL fake mom, and she's an absolute sweetheart, and I try and get together with her every time I come into Fresno. We'll either go to the swap meet or we'll get a meal, and she even help with filming. She's also a patron, really, really nice friend and woman that I really enjoy working with. We were getting ready to leave the swap meet. We've been there for about 2 hours, and this guy throws his hands up in the air. He's like, "Everything's free. Take it. We're just giving everything away. If it's on the ground, just take it. You can have it." And he just starts giving everything away. And I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I don't feel like packing it. I'm done with this stuff. I brought it out here enough times. I don't want any more of it anymore." And I said, "Great. I'm all for that." And there was literally people just started flocking over to the booth. And I'm just going through these boxes as quick as I can. Some lady was piling stuff on top of the box. I'm like, "Excuse me." I'm like, I'm digging here. And I see these nice shoes. These are Movement, spelled MOVMT, which I don't know if it's a relation to the watch company, Movement, but these are Movement brand shoes, and they're in pretty darn good shape. I looked these things up. They're worth about $40, and even the soles on them are in good shape too. They have some minor discoloration to them. I don't know if that's, looks like maybe somebody stepped on something adhesive at some point, but I got these for free. And even if I don't sell them, I mean, they're super wearable. And even if I can't sell them, I mean, I can donate them. They're a size 10. Somebody can benefit from these pair of shoes one way or the other. You know, if you are interested in them and you want some size 10 shoes, just let me know. And they don't weigh a ton either. They weigh maybe 2 pounds, so I'm going to send those out cubic. If you guys aren't shipping cubic yet, make sure you check out my video on that. Here's a link so you can get discounted shipping, bit.ly/cheap ship. Make sure you punch that in and check it out. Yeah, Movement is the watch company. That's what I was thinking too. But I don't know if is it a relation to the shoes? Is it the same company? Oh, see, it's MOVMT. Okay, so we're thinking of I'm thinking of the other one, MVMT, like you're talking about. No Floaties is the watch company. I picked this up for a friend, Sailor Moon manga copy. I don't even know what's going on with her. I haven't talked to her in forever, but I used to watch Sailor Moon growing up, so I may flip through this. What else do we got? Oh, guys, I found a $100 plus item, too. Here, we'll get to that here in just 1 second. We'll put that to the side right now. This is something else I got for free. What is this? I don't know. This was in the pile. I said this has to be worth something. It's an Atmosphere by Rhyme Slayers. I don't know. Let's see what this is worth. And the thing is, we're working on getting improvements. Sorry about that. I'm reading back in pages. We're working on getting some improvements on the tech end of things, so that way we can bring back live search again. We've been having a little bit of trouble with the amount of strain that my computer goes through when I do these shows. Atmosphere CD. It says, Atmosphere, when life gives you lemons, you paint that S word gold. So we're going to put Atmosphere CD lemons in the title and see if this is worth anything. Explicit, new, $11, used, $9. Just because it's free, I might be able to get away with listing it. I don't know. I might just give it away. Might just donate it through. Maybe I'll listen to it and see if it's any good, but you can't beat free. And then I picked up another one of these. It says candle chimes. That's not really what it is. This is a little German holiday, seasonal type decoration. I had a big one of these before. The big one sold for like $160. These small ones, vintage era, I'll probably get about $15. Again, just because it was free, it was worth it. If I had to pay even $1 for this, I probably would have rejected it. Are you guys ready to see the biggest item that I found out of the entire time that I was there? It's pretty nuts. I didn't know it was worth this much. I picked it up and scanned it. I had a hunch, I had an inclination that it was worth some good money. I don't want to keep you in suspense too much longer, but I'm going to scan it one more time just so I don't sound like an absolute buffoon in the event that I am wrong. Oh, maybe I am a buffoon and I'm absolutely wrong. This item has a sales rank. Oh, no, I'm right. This item has a sales rank of 16 in electronics, which means it's one of the highest selling items on Amazon as far as electronics. It's a Maxell VHS-C cassette adapter, brand new in the shrink. Yeah, big bucks. Did you guys know that this was worth so much? So who's buying these? It's places like Horn Photo who are converting over different media formats for customers. And if you have those tiny cassettes, they shove them inside of here. They convert it over to maybe a VHS, or they have the VHS where it plugs into a computer, and then they strip the content off that way. So there's companies who desperately need this old tech. Currently, right now, brand new, it's selling for a price of $100 with gross proceeds of $81 and change. That is nuts. Absolutely nuts. I paid $1 for this cassette thing here. This is an item that's definitely going into Amazon on the next order that I send in. But isn't that crazy? Have any of you guys ever found one of those things before or ever worked in those? Absolutely nuts. Let's take a look. So I got these from me. These were she was selling these things so cheap. And you know what? They might even be worth money online too. I didn't even stop to check. But these are 40 count boxes of Ziploc bags and they're frozen themed. But I got all 3 boxes for like $2.50, which is nothing. And if you're like me, when you're buying a lot of smalls on eBay, if you have things that require multiple pieces or little sets that are going together, I use Ziploc bags all the time to be able to bundle things together. And most times I'll just take that same bag and I'll shove it inside the customer's packaging and just send it out like that, because I'm not going to sit there and empty it out sometimes. So getting 40 of these for $2.50 is an absolute steal. These are definitely going with me, but maybe they're worth something. I don't know. Look them up, find out. And then I also picked up from the same lady, and I know it's not Tupperware, so don't judge me, Mindy. I got this Star Wars container pack. This is another thing I'm going to use for me. It's $2.50, and I do need more food containers because my ex decided it was a good idea to steal all of mine. So, you make some food for her, she takes it home, and then you just never see them again, just like good jackets, pajama bottoms, and food. So, and then I got this from my buddy Kurt. It's a barbecue grill mat. This, again, was from the free pile. And then what do we got? We got a couple more items. I got this in the free pile too. I didn't look this up. This is a cool little piece. This is for Ham's beer. It says brewed naturally for natural drinkability, nothing artificial. Ham's. And this is from, if I had to take a stab in the dark, I would say early 80s, late 70s. It's not dated. Oh, it says Scranton, PA on the back. How cool is that? So yeah, cool little item, guys. Cool little item. I paid nothing for it. I would project that it's going to be worth maybe $30, $40. Nothing too crazy. What else do we got? Oh, man, we're right at the 2-hour mark right now, guys. I just got a few items left, and then I'm going to cut you guys loose. Up next, we have an overhead calculator. I got this for free, too. These don't have a high sell-through frequency, so I'm definitely going to be listing below the average. If I can get $12 on this, again, because it was free, I'll be very happy with that. And then Susan got this for me. This is really cute. Little Sesame Street beanbag guy. I'm going to rip his tag off. He's going to go on the shelf of interesting things where he will remain forever. And then here's a cool one. I've never seen these before. This is a Pokemon cassette tape. This is the To Be a Master music tape, and it has 10 brand new songs that were not on the show. So this is worth about $18 to $20, and the lady charged me hard for it. She charged me $3 on it, and I didn't want to pay it, but I didn't want to leave it because it's about a $10 profit after fees and shipping and everything. So yeah. When you do buy cassettes, though, definitely stop and take a moment to check the head and make sure that it's in good shape. If it looks like it's been unwound or re-reeled, if you can see it through the side, you definitely want to try and stay away from those ones. What else have we got, guys? I think we're on last item. This is a Verizon wireless. It's a Wi-Fi. I don't know, a little Wi-Fi hotspot. I paid $1 for this as well. I think they average anywhere between $20 and $40 depending on the model. The thinner they are, the newer they generally are. So if this bad boy works, I may even keep it because I could use a quality mobile hotspot for my laptop. But if they're worth, I don't know, if I can get $40+, I'll probably just sell it online. So guys, that is everything. Man, oh man, did we cover a whole lot of stuff right now. Give you guys one last minute. If you have any questions for me, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. Don't forget that this episode is proudly funded via Patreon. If you'd like to support the channel, patreon.com/Bolorama. And also a special thank you to our sponsors, Prairie Grit. But yeah, what a wild episode this was. Don't be afraid to go back through and replay it if you need to. And if you are a content creator and you are looking to work with me, don't be afraid to reach out to me. You can also join our Facebook group, facebook.com/Bolorama. And you can join in on the discussion that we have. We have posts going up every single week. Next week's show is going to be a little more of a traditional show. We are going to be covering a lot of very, very interesting news topics. We're going to be talking more about that acquisition that happened. We're going to be talking about an Amazon plane that crashed about a week ago. There's a lot of news that we have to catch up on, and just other little things of importance within the world of being a reseller. So, looks like we don't have any questions today, guys. I've been talking nonstop for 2 hours. I always like to leave everyone here with a little bit of positivity before I go out the door. I just want to say, I understand that we're coming into very tumultuous times in the world of being a reseller, but I can assure you that not all hope is lost. Things will change for the better before they get too much worse. Stay positive, continue buying, continue selling. Worst case scenario, grab up as much e-commerce resale profit as you possibly can, but I think everything's going to be okay. But just make sure you discern the disinformation from the fact online. There's a lot of faulty information being spread around, and I don't want anyone else finding themselves wrapped up in a lawsuit or other issues because they took bad advice. So, that being said, have yourselves a wonderful week. This has been the Sunday Reseller Roundup for March 3rd, 2019 with the Spring Seller Update. And yes, I'm jamming in keywords into this because we are going to have this whole thing annotated. So that'll be lovely. Definitely keep that discussion going on our Facebook group, facebook.com/Bolorama. And remember, if you don't make that money, someone else will. Please enjoy our very, very fun outro featuring all of our patrons. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next week. Well, hello to you. Thank you for coming to my brand new outro. Those of you who don't know, I am not the best at editing, so we have this green screen and we're gonna make the best of it. So away we go. Whoa, isn't that exciting? Look where we're going. Wow, we've ended up here. So yeah, the whole purpose of this outro is to be able to say thank you to you, the people who help support this program. So thank you to our base level patrons. I truly appreciate it. Whoa, we're going someplace new now. Holy cow, look where we are now. Thank you to our next level of patrons. I really appreciate it. We got one more stop to go. Will anyone be there? Let's go. Here we are. Hey, look at that. Thank you. Again, I appreciate it. Thank you to all of you. Have yourself a wonderful day. See you next week.